YouTube. This is Rusk Amusement Park Fan 62. Now, I saw a video recently that talked about who handled the pandemic better, Six Flags or Cedar Fair. And I'd like to give my own opinion on that for sure because I have been to both parks during the pandemic. I've been to two Six Flags and two Cedar Fair parks during the pandemic. And I like to give my overall thoughts about each and who did it better. Now, please note this for Six Flags, I am excluding um, their Halloween event from last year because I did not go to that. So I'm not entirely sure how they handled that. But let's get started. Now, Six Flags kind of did it better, in my opinion, just because for the parks that were able to open last year, which wasn't many, but it was more than Cedar Fair, they made it where it was still fun, but took this, took the safety in it too. So they were enforcing the masks, social distancing. Now, one that I I'm gonna do a video about, and that's going cashless. Now, well, and the other good thing that they did is certain projects that they pushed back. So, for example, at Six Flags over Texas, they were supposed to for this year supposed to get Aquaman Power Wave. That's been pushed back again due to something they're adding. So they're gonna have it for next year. Certain things like that. Now, I applaud Six Flags for also adding, well, taking a risk, I should say, on adding a new coaster to Fiesta Texas in this unknown time, because that's either going to turn out well or be a complete failure. But now, also with Six Flags, they did stuff to make money on the side, such as drive-through Christmas events. Kind of do a more family-friendly during the day slash a small fright fest for Halloween. Um, Still doing holiday in the park at the event at the parks that were open, and even doing some at the parks that were closed, but just doing like a drive-through event. Like I know they did that at Magic Mountain, I believe. I'm not entirely sure about the one in California, but it was stuff like that. Well, Cedar Fair kind of took a more safety approach. So last year they were only open 4 or 5 parks, compared to 7 or 8 with Six Flags. Um, Basically, the only parks for Cedar Fair that was able to open last year was the big parks was Kings Island and Cedar Point, but they had to sue the governor to get those open. Now, we all have our own opinions on that, when that is fine. But personally, I do think it was kind of idiotic for the governor not to leave them in as far as reopening, because considering all the job money that Ohio gets with those parks. But at the same time, I understand why. Now, and then they had two other small parks. I forgot which ones those were. I think one was Valley Fair. Now, Unfortunately, a lot of their other big name money making parks were not able to open last year, such as Carowinds in the Carolinas. Um, Now, Knott's was able to open, but as more of like a shopping mall type feel than an amusement park. California's Great America was not able to open. And there were some others in there too that I'm probably missing. Now, I do applaud Cedar Fair for trying and coming up with other ways, but the problem was, and this is one of the things that's hurting them financially too. Past Halloween last year, they basically shut down. Uh, Cedar Fair normally shuts or Cedar Point normally shuts down anyway past October, but normally Kings Island's open for Christmas. But last year, due to it, they did not. Now this year, they have said they are, but I I just hope they can figure things out due to the uncertain circumstances plus the national job problems, I should say. I just hope they can get enough people to work those events because now I know for a fact like their Christmas event is not all day. Now maybe once you get more into December, they may make it more like an all day feel, but I know they're not doing an all day event. Um, I know it's usually open from like 5 to 10 or something like that, but in my opinion, I think Six Flags did the better job as far as handling it because they at least tried to open their parks the best they could without taking legal action against those states that where they could not, because I know for a fact it did hurt them as far as not opening parks like Chicago, Magic Mountain in LA, Discovery Kingdom, and some other New England. But probably I'm sure they've made up for lost money that they made last year for this year. But I just, in my opinion, I think Six Flags handled it better as far as opening up and finding other ways to make money besides just selling the season passes or food, like drive-through events, um, and even some stuff like before the season started. Like for Over Georgia, they had a monster truck thing, so that probably brought in parking money, stuff like that. Um, but in the comments below, which one do you prefer, Six Flags or Cedar Fair during the pandemic, and why?